time there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now. Truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to
right, so we got our first contestant of the day, and your name is, sir?
was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now. was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now. Once upon a time, there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
All right. What's happening, everybody? Marcus Ely here for Status Quo, filling in for Jordan today. So a lot going on. We got a lot going on. Make sure you smash that like button, become a member. We can't do this without you guys. I can't even be here without you guys' support. Right now, I want to make sure I give you guys the info on our membership right now. Currently, we are approaching our membership goal. We are at 703 members right now. That's 703 members of our current goal of 1,000. So become a member, statusquo.com/join to become a member and support independent journalism. We can't get out in the field and do these stories without you guys. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the Biden town hall today. Or rather, the town hall in general, the climate change town hall, and Joe Biden's, I don't even know what to call it, his performance or lack thereof. I mean, dude did unlock the sharing gun. Can we at least give him credit for that? He unlocked the sharing gun. For those of you that are fans of Naruto, or aren't fans of Naruto, rather, that it's a red eye that gives you like special powers and stuff. So yeah, Joe Biden unlocked the sharing gun last night. I did not know he was a Uchiha. He is. That's the clan that has that special power. But enough jokes. Enough jokes. Terrible anime reference jokes. So we're gonna go ahead and go to this video of him being called out for going to a fundraiser tonight, which would be the night after the climate change debate, and whether or not he would be able to hold certain people accountable when he's taking money from them. Let's go ahead and take a look at that and come right back.
In a minute, I want to introduce you to Isaac Larkin. He's a PhD candidate at Northwestern University studying synthetic biology, which honestly, I don't really even know what that is. I just have to throw that
It's
out.
awesome.
He currently supports Senator Bernie Sanders, but you could change his mind tonight. Who knows, Isaac?
It doesn't look like I do that with it.
Senator Biden, I'm 27 years old. Half of all greenhouse gas emissions ever generated by the entire history of human civilization have been released in my lifetime. This despite the now well-documented fact that 40 years ago, scientists at Exxon and Shell knew and reported to their bosses that burning fossil fuels was warming the planet and would destabilize the climate. Fossil fuel corporations, their executives, their trade and industry organizations, and their think tank front groups have waged a decades-long campaign of lying to the public about the science, and it has brought us to a crisis that threatens the entire human race. Now, I know that you signed the No Fossil Fuel Money pledge, but I have to ask, how can we trust you to hold these corporations and executives accountable for their crimes against humanity when we know that tomorrow you are holding a high-dollar fundraiser hosted by Andrew Goldman, a fossil fuel executive?
He's not a fossil fuel executive, I'm told. He is not a fossil fuel executive. And the fact of the matter is that what we talk about is what are we going to do about those corporations? What have we done? And everywhere along the way, for example, I've argued and pushed for us suing those executives who are engaged in pollution, those companies who are engaged in pollution. I've never walked away from that. I've also been one of those people who, when I was chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, got involved in plans to be able to join people together in order to take on these corporate interests. When back in 1986, they entered one of the first climate plans that existed. PolitiFact said it was a game changer. I've been engaged in this from the beginning.
Let me just inform our audience about some of the details that Aaron was talking about, because I think it's important. I think a lot of people don't know about the studies that you cited. 2017, there was a Harvard study that examined both public and private communications from ExxonMobil. The study showed that for 40 years, while the company publicly were raising doubts about climate change, the dangers of it, internally, ExxonMobil scientists and executives were acknowledging the threat to the planet. There was 2018, there was a Dutch news organization which uncovered internal communications from Royal Dutch Shell showing they understood the impacts of climate change and the company's contribution to it all the way back to the 80s. Let me just point out that in response to Harvard, Exxon said, our statements have been consistent with our understanding of climate science. Shell said, quote, its position on climate change has been a matter of public record for decades. We strongly support the Paris Agreement on climate change. But Isaac's question is, will you hold fossil fuel corporations and executives who've lied to the public accountable?
Yes, and by the way, just like we did the tobacco industry that lied to the public, just like we did the opioid industry.
How do you do that?
Well, the way you do that is you try to change the law. You go after them, you try to change the law.
To his other question, though, about this fundraiser, there is a fundraiser tomorrow night. It's given by a guy named Andrew Goldman. He does hedge funds and stuff, but he also has a company called Western LNG. And their biggest project, which I think was announced in like 2018, is a floating liquefied facility for natural gas. It's off the coast of British Columbia, and it's going to provide Canadian gas to parts of northern Asia. So what Andrew is saying is, if you're going to a fundraiser that's given in part by this guy who has a company that is pulling up natural gas, are you the right guy to go after these people?
Well, I didn't realize he does that. I was told if you look at the SEC filings, he's not listed as one of those executives. That's what we look at, the SEC filings. Who are those executives? I've kept that pledge, period.
So are you going to look at that fundraiser tomorrow night?
I'm going to look at what you just told me and find out if that's accurate, yes.
Okay. I think it's pretty accurate. Aaron, I called you Isaac. I called you Aaron. I apologize. Isaac, thank you for your question.
All right. So I just want to completely point out that this was a coordinated attack by the Bernie Bros, the far left agenda being just sexist and misogynist again. No, in all seriousness, though, it was really interesting to see him get challenged like that on CNN. So, and CNN's extra prepared with these type of things. And Anderson Cooper was ready with a follow-up. So, I mean, credit where credit is due. It's not often that we get to give Anderson Cooper and CNN credit for holding someone that's a part of the Democratic establishment accountable for their actions, but they did it in this instance, so clap it up, respect, hats off, the whole nine. I did find his answers really questionable, because not only because he dodged it in typical establishment form, but in the way that he did dodge it. Because there's another clip I'm going to show y'all in a minute that shows how questionable he was on these things. But let's for some background, just because it was kind of mentioned in it, but I want to give you guys a little more background before I give you my full commentary. Like, it was a dodge, we know, but let's go to The Intercept, who actually helped or has the best what's the word I'm looking for? Excuse me, y'all. Having a brain fart right now. The best they have the best synopsis of the whole story. So here it says, the day after Joe Biden participates in CNN's climate forum in New York, the former vice president will head to a high-dollar fundraiser co-hosted by a founder of a fossil fuel company, Andrew Goldman, a co-founder of Western LNG, a natural gas production company based in Houston, Texas. Blah 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 blah. Y'all already know all that based on there. But then in the second paragraph, it gets into a little more on Goldman and Biden's ties. It says Goldman and Biden have deep ties. Goldman served as an advisor to Biden when he was in the Senate and was the Northeast Director of Finance for Biden's 2008 campaign. He's also an executive at the investment banking firm Hildred Capital Partners. He and his partner David Solomon, along with their wives Renee and Sarah, will host a private fundraiser for Biden at the Solomon House, CNBC reported. Goldman also co-founded De Cordova Goldman Capital Management, which invested in natural resources and energy. According to the company's website, Western deploys innovative floating liquefaction technology and inland locations, specifically those that have existing pipeline access to natural gas basins. So, yeah, like, he's not just getting money from people. It's important that we clarify that, and I don't think CNN clarified that enough. It's not that he's just taking money from these folks. He's worked with that man for a long time. That is his boy from back in the game. Like, his 2008 campaign is 2019. You know what I mean? Like, even when he was in the Senate, the dude was one of his advisors. Like, this dude goes back with Joe Biden. And Joe Biden's going to get his back. So, yeah, that is a fair question. Is he going to be the one to hold them accountable when not only A, is he boys with the people that run these companies, and he's told Wall Street before that nothing will fundamentally change for them. Is that part of nothing fundamentally changing? I would have liked to see that kind of follow-up. But we'll see. And furthermore, I want to point this out because this was an update on the Intercept piece, what's highlighted here. But Splinter News, so after this forum, Simone Sanders, a Biden spokesperson, dug in, insisting that Goldman was not really involved with the firm he co-founded. But Splinter News dug up a Canadian filing from last year that asks, please briefly identify the other senior management personnel involved with Western. The answer, quote, Western is managed by a seasoned team of executives experienced in the LNG and related energy infrastructure industries. Western's co-founder is Andrew Goldman, chief investment officer of Hildred Capital Partners. He is a long-term investor in the liquefied natural gas sector. An industry press release from 2018 also speaks about Goldman as having a present tense role in the company and describes him as a, quote, long-term investor in the liquefied natural gas sector, end quote. He's also the second person listed under their leadership on Western's site. Translation, Simone Sanders and Joe Biden are full of crap. Because that's the documents right there. That's the SEC filings. You said, look at the SEC filings. There go the SEC filings, Joe Biden. Simone Sanders. There go to SEC filings right there. So they looked at the SEC filings, and the SEC filings say, nah, partner, not only is he heavily invested in this, not only is he the founder, he's the second person listed for leadership. And when they're filing their SEC filings, they put his name on there. This is what we're talking about. Full of crap. Joe Biden, again, shows that he's not going to be for the people at all in any way, shape, or form. And this is a consistent problem with him. Like, there are folks that are saying, well, we gotta take the front runner because, like, he's got the best chance to beat Trump. You go ahead and put that man up against Trump if you want to. I'm gonna tell you right now, you will lose. Like, centrism lost. We tried it in 2016. It's over with. Go home. You lost. Go home, Steve. Go home, go home, go home, go home. Go home, Steve. That's a reference to Family Matters. For those of you that happen to be much younger than me. So we're going to go to the second video here because Joe Biden, in the first video that I just showed y'all, Joe Biden says that he wants to pass laws at the national level that could possibly make a difference in terms of fracking. But then he turns around and goes right back on that. If you look at the second video here. So this is 10 minutes after he answered that question. Joe Biden puts on the flip-flops 10 minutes later. Let's take a look. Sorry about that, guys. I just had a technical issue. Give me just a second. We're going to go ahead and get it back up here. All right, here we go. This is the video of Biden flip-flopping 10 minutes later.
Barbara Jarmaska, is that right? Good.
Hey, Barbara.
A retired business owner from Montoursville, Pennsylvania. Barbara?
Good evening, Mr. Vice President. I live in rural Pennsylvania in the bullseye of the Marcellus Shale. Currently, the county I live in is home to 1,600 plus permitted fracked gas wells. I have witnessed firsthand the tragic and appalling destruction of our beautiful forests and Pennsylvania wilds. Sadly, our Democratic governor is all in for fracked gas. As president, what can you do to change the direction of the catastrophic climate change policies and future plans at the state level?
And I just want to point out to our viewers, the Marcellus Shale is a rock formation underground. It's enormous. It's approximately 2/3 of Pennsylvania, as well as parts of New York, Ohio, and West Virginia, and Maryland is the largest natural gas field in the U.S.
I know that. Thank you.
that was for...
No. Thank you. I appreciate the help. Look, number one, I think the way we deal with state lands is we have less latitude. We say we can and cannot do. I've argued against any more oil drilling or gas drilling on federal lands that we can and stop that. I think we should, in fact, be looking at what exists now and making a judgment whether or not those in fact that are there, those wells that are there, whether or not they're dangerous, or whether or not they've already done the damage, and what we can do there by trying to change the attitude of the members of the governors of various states state legislatures. Now, we could pass national legislation, but I don't think we'd get it done in terms of getting the votes to get it done, to say all fracking that's going on now ends unless you can show there's some physical security need or worried about explosions, et cetera, which is a legitimate thing to worry about. But I would not allow any more.
Also, I just want to point out, in fairness to the governor of Pennsylvania, he's stopped short. He's moved to regulate and limit some fracking, stopped short of calling for a statewide ban. So just to be clear, you would not call for a ban statewide on fracking or nationwide. You said stop new oil and gas drilling on federal lands.
Yes.
Okay.
And I would also go back and look at what's out there now to determine whether or not it is safe, physically safe. As it called earthquakes and the like. That's what I would do.
Next question.
There used to be an EPA. And no, you think I'm kidding. It's almost not there now. But anyway.
All right, so there he is, putting his flip-flops on. 10 minutes later, during the debate, at first you said that we will hold them accountable by changing the laws, which, in all honesty, isn't holding them accountable at all. It's not changing the laws is not holding them accountable. Holding them accountable would be charging them with crimes against humanity, because that's what they did, crimes against humanity, and doing a perp walk. That's holding them accountable. Fines for, I don't know how much ever, half their company's worth, all of their company's value, to make sure that all of that money goes towards funding the cleanup for what they've done. That's holding them accountable. Holding somebody accountable literally means you make reparations for your mistakes. You don't just get a slap on the wrist and say, I'm sorry. That's not what you do for crimes against humanity. That's not holding them accountable. That's letting them go. Number one. That's what changing the laws does. Number two, 10 minutes later, he just backtracked and he's talking about well, I don't think that changing the laws is something we can do because that's not possible. Bro, what are you talking about? You just said, 10 minutes ago, that it really 13 if you want to be exact, that he was gonna change the laws. And here we go. Joe Biden with the flip-flops and the sharing gun. I'm sorry, I hate to make fun of, I don't want to make fun of him because that's not something to make fun of. He's got some kind of serious issues going on. However, somebody need to tell him, dog, go home. Period. It's too serious right now. It's too much going on and too much at stake for the Democratic Party to make this choice. And I'm not saying that as a biased person or this, that, and the other. It's just there is too much at stake right now to have somebody try to run for president against Donald Trump that has as many holes as he does. It's exactly like Jordan said, you're iceberg ahead. You're heading directly for an iceberg with Joe Biden as your front runner. Of course, I firmly believe that he will no longer be the front runner come really probably mid next month. And it might even be longer than that, or it might even be November at the latest. He's not going to be the front runner for long because the man has a history of running terrible campaigns, and this is a terrible campaign he's running, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. We can just see. You can look and see what's going on with this campaign, and I don't. It's funny to me. It's funny that this is what they trying to shove down your throat. What Killmonger say? Is this your king? Is this your front runner? Is this your front runner? For real? Okay. Y'all must want Trump to win. If I was Trump, I'd be like playing Nas, the beginning of what is it? Belly, or not Belly, Ether. Bump Biden. You been on you love my style. Like that's that's really, they love Trump. Let's keep it 100. The establishment loves that man. They love him. He done made them so much bread. Wall Street love him. They love him. His money, he making them all their money, bruh. They love this man. They could do without the racism because it makes them look bad. And sure, they might feel some type of way about it, but end of the day, they care about their money. They don't care about that extra. Y'all know that, though. I'm not telling you anything at all. So we're going to go ahead. For those of you that did see it, I covered a gun show this past weekend. I was thrown out of that gun show. And I got some other questions up when I was there, but I only got I had to do true and false trivia with these folks to try to make it to where they would talk to me. Because I was trying to I need 2 minutes. That's all I asked for. I wasn't trying to get in a huge debate in a gun show full of Republicans that look like they want to fight. So I just that wasn't a safe decision for me. So I tried to be as simple and short with these folks as possible. By the way, smash that like button. Become a member. I want to make sure that I put up again the graphic here that shows y'all. We got 703 members on our way to 1,000, which is our goal. So yeah, smash that like button so more people can see this video. Become a member. We appreciate y'all. We really, really appreciate y'all. We could not do this without y'all. I wouldn't be able to go to the gun show that I'm getting ready to show y'all more footage of. Yeah, I gotta be honest, I was hyped when they when they told me to delete my footage, because I deleted footage for them. They went in my phone, they saw me deleting footage. Everything I deleted was already saved to my home hard drive. Oh, I was so hyped. I'm not even gonna lie. As a journalist, that made me feel like I did something. Because I've talked to other journalists and it's really hard to cover gun shows because they're incredibly antagonistic towards the media. I talked to my mentor about me covering it, and she was like, wait, how? I went to gun shows after Route 91 and I was covering it. And she's got a book deal based off of her work from the Route 91 shooting. And she went to gun shows after that, and they were incredibly antagonistic towards her. So yeah, it was a really interesting thing. And the point of me going to the gun show was to talk to the patrons. I didn't want to talk to the dealers like that. I wanted to talk to the patrons, and I wanted to prove that a lot of these patrons are common sense folks that they have the right mind, and they want to see background checks expanded. A lot of these folks that go to gun shows, because most folks that are hobbyists or hunters with these guns, they're not interested in all that extra. But it turned out that this gun show I went to had majority assault weapons, so it was a little different crowd here. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show y'all the footage of these questions I asked folks. There was only 3 folks I got to participate in 5 hours of asking every person I saw. But I'm going to go ahead and show y'all, and we'll come back and talk about it in a second. All right, so we got our first contestant of the day, and your name is, sir?
Mike Kavanaugh.
All right, Mike Kavanaugh. So, true or false, Mike? We're gonna get to the facts on these guns. Kind of mess with the liberal media bias. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. True or false?
Well, that's false. We have good law enforcement, and we have rules. They just need to be in.
Okay. And then, 2, mass shooters target gun-free zone. True or false?
I don't think that's a consideration. The schools, yes, but the police, the law enforcement people, they show up quick. So, it's my opinion. It's 50-50.
50-50 is what you think?
Yeah.
Gun laws don't work because criminals don't follow the law.
Well, yes. I think there's a considerable thought behind that, and I happen to be one of them.
And then 4, true or false again, mass shootings are caused by mental health issues.
It's not a yes or no. It obviously, some of these people are mentally unstable.
All right. And then 5, violent video games are somewhat responsible for mass shootings.
I agree with that.
Thank you so much. So can you say your name for the camera?
Willie Luster.
All right, Willie. So these are 5 questions, true and false. We're going to go as fast as we can. And I'll give you the answers at the end, all right? The first one is true or false. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. True or false?
False.
Okay. And number 2, mass shooters target gun-free zones. True or false?
Probably true. I'm not sure about that.
3, gun laws don't work because criminals don't follow the law anyways. True or false?
True.
Okay. And then 4, mass shootings are caused by mental health issues.
Questionable. It's because of attitudes and way people are treated. And
But I gotta get you a pick, true or false.
okay, what was the question again?
Mass shootings are caused by mental health issues.
No.
And then 5, violent video games are somewhat responsible for mass shootings.
True.
Okay. Can I get your
Robert Rupert.
Right, cool. So the first question is true, and these are all true or false. First question is the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. True or false?
True.
Mass shooters target gun zones. True or false?
True.
Gun laws don't work because criminals don't follow the law.
True.
Mass shootings are caused by mental health issues.
Most likely. True.
All right. And then 5, violent video games somewhat responsible for mass shootings.
That I don't know.
All right. Are you ready for what I say? Go ahead. All right. So, number 1, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a guy with a gun. That one's actually false. From 2000 to 2013, the FBI found that only 1 was stopped by a person with a firearm permit. Number 2, mass shooters target gun-free zones. Again, according to the FBI, that was false. Of 156 mass shootings that occurred from 2009 to 2016, only 10% occurred in what's called a gun-free zone. And then number 3 was laws don't work because criminals don't follow the law. That one was actually also false. The 10 states with the weakest gun laws have a 3 times higher rate of gun violence than the 10 states with the best gun laws. Also, that's FBI statistics. And then also the another fact behind that was like, just because criminals are going to break the law, like you don't have laws, that's anarchy. You know. So number 4, you said mass shootings are caused by mental health issues. You said false. That is correct. If you get rid of schizophrenia, major depression, and bipolar disorder, violence of all kinds would only decrease by 4%. All right. So how do you feel about the facts?
No thought about it at all.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Hop on over to statusquo.com where you can sign up for an email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statusquo.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.
All right. So yeah, that was fun. And 2 of the people there got 3 out of 5 right. So it kind of proved my point. And those 2, the guy with the USA hat and the guy with the Trump shirt, were both huge right wingers. So the Trump shirt guy got all of them wrong. So whatever, to be expected. But the other guy with the USA hat, like, I talked to him a little bit after he stayed and talked to me for all of 30 more seconds, and he was telling me, like, these assault weapons gotta go. He was like pro banning assault weapons, and he was a right winger. That like shocked me, and I tried to get him on camera to say that, but he wasn't having it. He was like, "You're not getting me on the on like camera saying that." I was like, I can understand, but yeah, no, like there are people out there that love guns and enjoy sport hunting, and enjoy going to shooting ranges, and enjoy or have guns for protection, and want to expand these background checks. There are people that like having assault rifles and want to expand these background checks. 80% of the NRA membership is pro expanding background checks. So that's something we need to make sure that we hit home with folks, and I think that it would really help to talk to these folks, for the media to get out there and talk to these folks and engage with these folks. Like, I myself personally was raised with guns in the house. I was cleaning shotguns at 8. And there was a period of time when my dad and I had to live off the land because we just didn't have funds like that. So we were growing vegetables in the backyard, and we would drive down to the country every weekend from Dallas down to Marlin, Texas, right outside of Waco. And yeah, we would hunt and kill and clean the meat that we kill and only killed what we ate though. But we killed, clean the meat, skin it, and do what you need to do to make sure we had food. Like squirrel, deer, dove, that's what we had to eat. We was dirt po. And a lot of folks tend to miss that in the crowd of folks that are really hard against guns, is that most of the people that do the hunting, like most of the people that own guns, are regular folks. And there's nothing wrong with having your shotguns. And a lot of them think that these assault rifles are freaking crazy and we don't need this. So that's the one thing that I, as somebody that's been around guns since I was a small child, and as somebody that also does not have a gun at this point because of my depression and suicidal ideation that I've have a history of, and I'm currently on medication for depression right now, I don't have a gun in the house. I don't try. I had opportunities to take security jobs, and I did not take them for that reason. So I wanted to make sure that I drove that point home for y'all on the gun issue. It was going to be something that was going to be part of my coverage while I was out there, but as you saw, I got kicked out. They didn't want me talking to nobody, and yeah, it was what it was. Like, why do you... I saw a 200 round extended clip there. Like, it looked like 2 Tommy gun drums with a clip in the middle. Like, why? For what? What you need that for, bruh? You don't need that. That's a weapon of war. You only trying to kill the only thing that's good for is killing a gang of people. That's it. You got 40 wild hogs coming. Oh, but stop. I'm gonna stop. But yeah, let me one more time. I want to remind y'all, 703 is where our membership is at. I would like to personally, I would like to get out and cover some of these hurricanes that's going on. It costs money to get me out there though. Like, it costs money to do these things, and we're extra frugal when we go places. Like, I eat dollar menu and stuff, or go to the grocery store and get a couple of things to hold me over for a day or two. Like, we're extra frugal with this, and we're really careful about how we spend y'all's money when we're out here. And it takes y'all's support to make this stuff happen. It really does. And we appreciate y'all. Straight up, I'm doing my dream job because of y'all. I say this all the time, but like I really mean that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, become a member, smash the like button so more people can see this. Thank you guys. That's all I have for you today. I will catch you later.